Austin Price from Volquest.com. He joins us every week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Austin, thank you for the time. As always, Tennessee's getting ready for a big road game, final true road game of the season for the Vols. What stands out when you look at the matchup of these two teams? What's important for Tennessee this week getting ready for Eli Drinkwitz's team?
I think it comes back down to tackling defensively. Not letting, the running back get a bunch of yards after contact, and then pressure. Being able to, either get home with your front four and your edges, getting a better push internally, or bringing a guy like Aaron Beasley, who's been, very successful as a blitzer, during the last couple of years for Tim Banks. Tennessee's got to be able to push some pressure, do those type of things on defense. And then offensively, just be you. Joe keeps playing really efficient and hand the ball to zero a lot.
I saw where four-star running back Daniel Hill is going to make his announcement January the 6th. If you're Tennessee, do you prefer him to commit earlier, or do you like him committing after the early signing period?
Well, I mean, in most instances, kids like this, Jason, will go ahead and sign in December and then commit, at the Army game. So they're already technically signed. They just won't be announced. And, in most instances, it's hard for it to not get out. But I don't think it really matters. I mean, with Daniel Hill, he's an interesting recruitment. Like, everybody thought it was going to be Alabama or South Carolina, and it's kind of drug on and on and on. And now it feels like, Alabama's offered a few more running backs. What's Tennessee's backfield situation going to look like at that point in time, as far as like, who comes back, who doesn't come back. So, I don't think it's just cut and dry, and I think the people around him really don't want him to go to South Carolina. So, to me, this is one of the more odd, strange recruitments that I've seen in quite a while, just because, it's kind of just, continued to drag on when probably it shouldn't have, and now I think it's going to be an interesting situation to who's willing to take Daniel Hill the next, 6-8 weeks.
Austin Price is with us from Volquest, thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Have there been more twists and turns with this recruiting cycle? Jordan Seaton feels like one of those where he has a pretty long list still that remains, right? Or am I overthinking in terms of how many recruits have gone kind of back and forth, some toward Tennessee, some away from Tennessee during this cycle?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's the NIL era, Josh. I mean, it's literally like, not every recruitment is NIL driven, but a lot of them are, or at least plays a big part. So you see a lot of waffling back and forth, and, sometimes, schools end up seeing more tape on a kid, and a kid they wanted heavily 6 weeks ago is just kind of, 6 weeks later. So, I mean, it changes a lot. With Seaton, I mean, he's just continued to take a ton of visits, and when you're taking visits to Oregon and Colorado and Tennessee and Ohio State and Oklahoma, and I mean, like, all in a 6 week span, I mean, you're allowing this notion that you're wide open. Now, is he that wide open? I don't think so. Like, I think Oklahoma's heavily in play, Ohio State, Oregon, Tennessee. Like, I think Colorado's far-fetched. I just don't think, NIL-wise that they move the needle, and I just don't think that that's a real option for them. It seems like Florida and Alabama have kind of maybe faded a little bit, but again, in the NIL era, it can change on a dime. And so I still think Tennessee's in a really good spot because they have their official visit ahead of them. He may get back out to Oregon in December if that happens. Obviously, that would be, a potential game changer. But this one will have several turns and twists between now and, that third week of December. This one is a long way from being over, one way or the other.
Austin Price, Volquest.com. With early signing period, we haven't seen those fireworks on signing day like we used to see. Now it's about flip season, seeing kids be committed to one school, flip to another school right before the early signing period hits. Is Tennessee in the running to be able to benefit from some potential flips before December, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, Michael Smith, teammate of Jake Merklinger, doesn't feel like he's going to end up at South Carolina. Auburn and Tennessee, probably the two main suitors to try to flip the big tight end from down there in Savannah. You've got Kai Bates, DB that's committed to LSU. Tennessee kind of finished runner-up the first time around. LSU's expecting a lot of defensive staff changes, and I'm not sure he was ever super sold on LSU. And then you've got a guy like Elias Williams who's committed to Missouri, defensive lineman from the state of Florida. That's Missouri, Tennessee, Alabama. Amaris Williams committed to Florida. That's Ohio State, Tennessee, Florida, a couple others. So yeah, I mean, there's some opportunities there to potentially flip a kid. I do think Tennessee's got their hands in the cookie jar to flip one or two that I think are real possibilities.
Austin, with Tennessee going to Missouri on Saturday, where is your health radar focused? Which players are you paying attention to see their status ahead of the game at 3:30?
We didn't see Arion Carter last week. I do not think you'll see him this week. Outside of that, I think they're fairly healthy. John Campbell should be back. Kind of held him out last week for precautionary stuff. The rest of the offensive line made it through fine. Jabari Small will be good to go in this game. Jalen Wright's heel's good. I mean, he played just fine last week because he went over 100 yards again. Defensively, should be about as healthy as one can be outside of linebacker, where, again, I don't think Carter will play and Peely's not back. And at this point, I think, you may be looking at some discussions and conversations about, what the future holds there.
What are the chances we are talking about an SEC East title game this time next week?
I would say they're less than 50%. The likelihood that Ole Miss is going to go on the road and win in Athens at night, I just don't. I mean, they've kind of faded in the month of November the last couple of years. I thought they did look solid last week, but I mean, A&M still had an opportunity there late. I just think, Georgia's the better team. But, I mean, who knows? Like I said, I would put it under 50% chance. And, again, Tennessee's got to go out and win this week. You win this game, you're either playing for the East next week, which means Ole Miss beat Georgia, or you're playing the number one team in the country for the chance to get 10 wins a year after you got 10 wins for the first time in 15 years. And that'd be back-to-back 10-win regular seasons. So I think that, a lot to play for no matter what, but it all starts this weekend, just going to Missouri, taking advantage of a 3:30 kickoff. Jason, is this your first trip to Como?
Yes, sir. Any tips you got for me?
You're going to get the benefit of 60 degrees in November, which never happens. This is a unicorn. 60 and a 3:30 kickoff means the game's going to be played in the low 60s or high 50s, and that's fantastic for the team. It's fantastic for your sideline reporter for the Vol Network. Normally when you drive in, it's like that scene from The Lion King, the boneyard scene where the hyenas and Scar are in there. It's a pretty ugly place in November in the middle of Missouri. So, yeah.
Any advice for me, AP? Are you going to be there, man?
No, I'll be there. I mean, like, their PA guys about like the guy at Kentucky, except for he'll say first down MIZ and the crowd chants ZOU back at him. Like it's one of those very annoying. Like you'll get the benefit of that down there on the sideline, and they'll have that cannon that they're always shooting off, and hopefully they don't get to shoot it off very many times Saturday. They didn't get to last time, so we'll see. But Tennessee's defense is going to have to get some stops, because I do think Missouri will move it between the 20s. Can Tennessee's defense get off the field and force them into field goals? I think that's a telltale sign in this game is which team plays better inside the red zone.
So you're saying we won't hear it's football time in the Show Me State like we heard it's football time in the Bluegrass Kentucky week?
No.
Okay, awesome.
No, I don't think you'll hear that.
Awesome.
Again, it's you're going to get the benefit of 60 in November in Como, and it,
I'll take it.
Again, that's a unicorn. Yeah, you should take it.
Yeah, Swain, you need to go do a cold plunge in the morning, something like that, to get the real feel for Columbia, Missouri.
All right. I can handle cold weather, but I prefer 60. So Let's go. Let's get it done.
It's going to be a Swain-type weekend. If you were traveling to the game, you run into Austin Price, tell him how much you appreciate him joining us each week on Josh and Swain. And he joins us thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs, making it unique, making it special, making it just for you. Holiday season is here. They want to be your jeweler there at Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Austin, safe travels to Columbia this weekend. Merry Christmas to you continued.
What?
And we'll talk to you again next week. We appreciate the time as always.
Early November.
Appreciate you guys.